Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for podcast number 14 in the DXB podcast series from DirectXbox.com forums, of course. This is the podcast that many of you guys have been waiting for. We've teased it a little bit. You've seen it on Twitter. This is the podcast where Kevin Dent joins us for quite a while, actually, and we're really appreciative of that. Joining us, other than Kevin, is obviously myself, Chanogram. Landshark is in there, MWJW, Average Gamer Guy. So you hear those voices in there. And we don't go over introductions or anything else in this podcast, so it just kind of jumps right into it. So without further ado, here we go. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. How are you guys doing today?
Doing well.
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
I'm doing very good. I'm enjoying the sunshine out my window that I never get to see.
Yeah. Where are you from again?
Originally Ireland, but I've been, originally New York. Then my father retired back to Ireland when I was like 12. And then I came back about 9 years. Yeah, about 9 years ago.
Why?
I had a game company in Vienna in Austria, and I sold it to a company called VeriSign. They're a little tick box, and they wanted to get into mobile content and mobile games, so they bought the company I worked for. And I was a founder there, so it wasn't like I could say, no, fuck you, I'm staying here. So yeah, but I like it. I live in Portland, and have you guys ever been to Portland?
Yep.
I have not. I know Landshark lives out
yeah,
in that general
I'm up
area.
near Seattle, so I'm a Northwest guy.
Okay, so like Portland is awesome. So I came here a few months beforehand. The company wanted me to move to Mountain View, and like I had 2 kids at the time, and I was like looking at the places in Mountain View, and it was like you could get a fucking Matchbox for like $3,000 a month in rent.
Oh.
And it was like, it's fucking tiny. And it's, it's funny, I even entertained the idea. I looked at a few places, and a couple of the places were like, hey, yeah, we'd really like to see your stock portfolio, your bank accounts. And I'm like, I'm renting the fucking house. I'm not marrying you,
That's kind of personal when you're marrying the person. Like, goodness.
Yeah. So we did the whole thing, and it was where we basically checked out Portland. And I spoke to the guys in the office, and I was like, you guys really only need me and the other 3 guys that they were bringing over that worked on my team to basically be in the same time zone. And even then, they didn't need us over here. And we basically said, you know what? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to just say fuck that and move to Portland because we were there like last week and it was awesome. And they were like, "Oh well, you went to Portland in the summer, you know, it's a lot different in the fall." And I was like, "Yeah, fuck you guys." It's like that all year round, and you're just full of shit. It's the next state up. How can it be worse than fucking California? They were like, so yeah, it turned out to be a piece of shit. How about you guys? Where are you guys living?
We're scattered. So this is Chanogram, by the way. I'm the one who was originally communicating back and forth on the DXB Twitter. I'm from Minnesota, and I'll let those guys tell you where they're from.
MW, go ahead.
Minnesota.
Oh, me? Okay. Well, I'm from Central Ohio.
I'm in Northern Ohio.
Okay,
This is average area.
That's where Benkachera from Polygon is.
Okay.
Ohio. I don't know whereabouts in Ohio.
I've been talking to you guys for this long, and somehow I didn't realize you were both from Ohio.
Really?
I thought average was further out east than that, but that's bizarre. All right, that was my fault for not knowing that.
And you're in Minnesota, right?
Yep, I'm in Minnesota, so right outside of Minneapolis.
The heart of Game Informer.
Yes, that's true. I've been trying to. I would love to go talk to some people there, but I worked with one of my coworkers was dating the video producer / editor from Game Informer, and then right as I found that out, like 2 weeks later, she broke up with him. I was like, why? You couldn't wait to introduce me first?
And he literally just left as well.
His name was Ben, I think. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, he left, huh?
Yeah, he's gone to Giant Bomb.
I did not know that.
Yep. So, you know.
So with EA Access launching this past week for at least the beta members, what are your thoughts on that as far as the subscription model, and do you think it'll impact the industry, at least for the consoles, in a good or negative way, or maybe not even impact it at all in the long run?
It's the short answer is I don't know, because it depends how EA handles it. Like EA has a rich history of not being able to be mediocre. They're either fucking awful or they're brilliant.
Yep.
There's no middle ground there. So EA Access, if they fill up the chain and fill up the channel with great games and great content and your 10% discounts, well, like that's a no-brainer then. But if they start limiting what they're going to allow and start saying, okay, well, we're not going to put Madden up there, guys, or we might, but it'll be like a 2-year-old Madden. The other thing I think is interesting was the reaction from Sony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so
Lack thereof.
Exactly. So what you got to understand is that you have a situation, okay, where your content is paying for the box, okay? So they make very little. They make, like, in some cases, $50 later on in the cycle. But the way that manufacturing goes is that their first box cost them like $1 billion, okay? So the first box they sold cost Sony $1 billion. And then it starts coming down in price from that point on, okay? Because you've got to recoup the money that you've invested in the box so far. So they're making money from their box from selling games now. That's the only place they're. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So if I buy, when I bought my PlayStation, I got like 3 games on it, and I got about 7 more games that friends sent me codes and that sort of stuff. So my attach rate is really, really high. It's not typical. Your typical console box, you're looking at an initial attachment of like maybe 2 games a quarter. Sorry, half year. Okay, that's normally because most content that first comes out is crap when the console launches. Okay, so to pull it back around to the EA Access stuff, you've got a situation where one of your leading partners, like this isn't like it was Majesco, Okay, this is E-fucking-A, okay, who can basically say, you know what, we're gonna populate your platform with our content, but we're not gonna populate it with any DLC, okay? And
Ooh.
yeah, that's ouch, motherfucker.
Ask Sega in the Dreamcast what it's like not to have EA's content. It's very simple.
That's Nintendo right now.
Exactly.
Like right now. Like they're in a drought.
Oh,
Nothing EA.
Nintendo frustrates me because they make so many great games.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dude, fucking ship that shit on an Xbox, okay? So you made a bad console. You're gonna let like the company have layoffs because you made one bad console, you know? And I know the counter argument is Sega, but that doesn't. Sega didn't have like, I think Nintendo now has like $70 billion in cash, okay? Actually, it's probably a little lower. That's probably about 61 billion. But you know, it's still they should be able to get by on 61 billion for a while. Okay.
Yeah.
So develop a new console. Say fuck it. You know what? We screwed up. Without saying that, but just say we're accelerating. Because then everyone will be like going, but I bought a Wii U. So, but then again, you know, like they're Nintendo fanboys, so.
We'll give you a trade-in bonus.
Oh, fuck that shit. They're Nintendo fans, okay? Iwata could take a shit in a fucking Wii U box and they would buy it.
Yeah, one of the guys who isn't here tonight is a big Nintendo guy. He would have liked to hear that.
Oh, he'll listen to it. He just won't get that rebuttal in.
But with Sega were in big trouble. They had like a bunch of like they just launched a console and they didn't have the success of the Wii U, okay, behind it. Sorry, of the Wii behind it. So they were like going, oh, oops, and now they've just dwindled their cash. And besides that, like Sonic was cool when it came out, but then they did so many iterations just for the money. Like, I was waiting for Sonic Does Dallas, the porn episode, you know?
Nice.
That would have been a Sonic Adventure, too.
Except we were the ones getting fucked on that one, not the other way around.
Well, the interesting part is you could look at it, like, I've never been able to figure out whether Sonic is male or female. So it would be like an adventure. People would buy the porn just to find out, is Sonic a dude or a dudette?
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that relationship with Tails was a little questionable.
Yeah. So going back to EA, so EA is just like, I've got friends at EA, I've got friends at Nintendo, and my friends at Nintendo that weren't involved in that statement were like going, what the fuck? And my friends at EA that were both involved and not involved were like going, what the fuck? And my friends at Microsoft were like going, thank fuck.
That is great. Yeah. But it was the epitome of stupid. Like, my 2-year-old wouldn't say something like that when you have a service out there that's charging $2.99 for 60 seconds of content. Like, it made no sense. Absolutely no sense.
PlayStation Now, tech-wise, is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Okay. And on Live, we're doing something similar. The difference from a technical perspective is that with the Gaikai tech versus On Live has a bunch of, or has a compression technology that's fucking awesome. Okay. So they don't need to put data centers, or they don't need to populate data centers everywhere. They just populate data centers in like LA, New York,
the major hubs.
Exactly. Whereas, like, if your local 7-Eleven has a data center, Gaikai will be there if there's enough traffic. Okay? So their technology works by clustering, okay, to avoid latency. which is a lot more expensive. So, and running server farms is like really expensive.
Isn't Sony running through Rackspace? I thought I heard about a deal with that. Okay.
Yeah, they are. Now, so now you're adding another element, okay? Whereas with Microsoft has as an example, a big data center in Idaho. And allegedly, I haven't seen this yet, but allegedly there's like 200,000 servers populating this server farm. But what they're also doing is they're also generating enough electricity on their own that they're selling it back to the state.
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow.
So, like, this thing is, and plus, that's not just for Xbox. That's for Azure, which is their cloud-based service. Okay.
Yep.
Now, from a technology perspective, it's really good. Anyway, back to the point. So, with PlayStation now, I'm paying for Sony's data centers. Okay, that I don't want to have to. You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And besides that, you know, I'd really love to know what people are doing with their like PS3s and their PS2s, because like I've still got mine, and if I want to play a PS2 game, I just like take the 2 seconds to hook it up to my TV and play those games.
Mine's in a closet in a protected box where it damn well belongs.
Yeah, and then when I'm done, you know, I normally just hook it to the side, and then, you know, at some point in the next couple of months, I'll put it away.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look at the product overall and I go, okay, that could be interesting. Whether it is interesting all depends on whether EA fucks it up.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll screw up, because I think they've really started to improve lately. And like they've got, you know, like the likes of Peter Moore there. Peter Moore has a lot of respect inside the industry. And he's really well liked. He's kind of like the Phil Spencer, you know.
Yep.
Whereas when the guy took over at Sony, like I had friends call me up and say, "Hey, do you know who that guy is?"
Was it you talking about Andrew House or
No, not Andy.
or
the guy who replaced Jack Tretton. Jack Tretton, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, the one that no one liked when he was talking on E3.
Oh God.
Everyone wanted to just go back behind the curtains and let someone else come out.
Boo.
Yes,
No
yeah.
way.
And notice we haven't said his name yet because no one cares.
Does anyone actually remember his name on this?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Jack Tretton's replacement. That's all we can call it.
He's like Voldemort, he who can't be named because no one remembers his name.
But for different reasons, because we don't care about him other than Voldemort. Yeah.
He's not interesting. His last big. So I went to one of their senior guys, and I was like, "Do you know this guy?" And he was like, "Kinda." He said he was the one that was talking to the Senate about the data breach that we had like a couple of years ago. And I was like,
Ooh.
"Oh, okay, cool. He sounds like a fun guy." You know, because like when you send someone to give deposition for something like that, you send the most boring motherfucker you can find. Okay? If you can find
definitely achieve that.
If you can find a boring homeless person, you stick him on the stand. Okay. So yeah,
his name is Sean Layden. Does that sound right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's him.
Google is my friend. Or Bing. Sorry, Landshark.
Did you search
Bing.
spring guy running Sony? I mean,
I had to type in who replaced Jack Tretton ? Someone apparently asked the same question, and it was there. So.
Or type in boring as part of E3. I'm pretty sure it shows up there too.
Yeah.
It was funny, but you know. So yeah, the EA access thing. It could be great. Might not be great, but Sony fucked up big time by dissing EA. And I know the EA guys were like really, really pissed off. The Microsoft guys were doing somersaults because they're like, you want to treat your partners like shit? Go ahead. You know? Like
especially publicly. Now behind doors, you can talk some smack, but in the face of public and literally, it was everywhere. Ouch. That is
Well,
bad.
but you know what? You know what's more interesting? It's like we talk about how stupid it was, and yes, it was a stupid statement. But to follow up a stupid statement with a graph that shows that the PlayStation Now beta is open to everyone, and for your left leg and your firstborn child, you can play 4 hours of this game. Like it made absolutely no sense. Like the whole timing of it was just stupid. It was
And just, like,
absolutely ridiculous.
Oh,
So
and don't forget how much they touted how fantastic their PlayStation Plus service had grown since the introduction of PlayStation 4. Like, are you fucking kidding me? It's a mandatory service. Of course it grew. Like, don't sit there and whatever. A little angry.
But like at the end of the day, they're feeding the sharks kind of thing. But what they don't realize, and what a lot of the fans don't realize, is nothing they say matters. This is a 10-year cycle. The box you're playing now, well, probably not the actual box that you're playing now, because I doubt the PlayStation and the Xbox will stand 10 years of hard gaming. The Xbox One, that is, because of the architecture. But because it gets the PlayStation 4 uses DDR5 that gets hot as fuck, and you might notice that your PlayStation isn't exactly big.
Mm-hmm.
So that motherfucker is going to get hot, and it doesn't matter that it's not going to cause a fire. What happens is it's getting hot, and it's the rule of degrees. Okay, so hot one day, not too bad. Hot 1 year, not a problem. Hot for 4 or 5 years, you're going to see machines breaking.
Yep.
Or in the case of Xbox 360, hot for 6 months or so.
And
And then it red rings. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well, that
that's-
was when. Go ahead.
Can you
I'm sorry.
imagine, I was just going to say, could you imagine being in the Xbox R&D department when they were developing the Xbox One, and they're like, going, "Okay, this is the case," and the guy's looking at it going, "Bigger, bigger."
Yeah. More vents. Let's just make this whole side a vent. There we go.
But dude, that's going to be
bigger
ugly.
fans.
Like,
Yeah.
like, honest to God, it is an ugly fucking box, and I don't mind that because I look at my screen when I'm playing my fucking Xbox, and not the
It's in
Xbox
cabinet
itself.
where it belonged. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not really worried about what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks okay in my entertainment system. That's because everything in my entertainment system is black and kind of boxy with all the stuff. But I could easily see how in most places it wouldn't look very pleasant, I guess.
Yeah, I can get how like families might be looking at it going, okay, Daddy's new box is quite big, you know. And but I use my Xbox with the TV functionality and Kinect. I was actually talking to Larry Major Nelson. You guys know him as Larry Herb.
Yep.
So Larry's a good friend of mine. We were talking about Kinect when it first came out on the Xbox One, that is. And I was like, going, this thing works like a dream for me. And he's like, he said, sometimes I'm struggling with it. And he said, the engineers told me to start speaking like a normal human being. But I was like, what do they mean? He says, well, he says, I'm a professional speaker, so I enunciate everything in a way that would make every mom proud of the way their child talks, you know? Mm-hmm. And he pronounces everything perfectly, whereas the Xbox Kinect is expecting you to speak just like a regular human being, you know? Like Xbox fucking turn on, you know?
If only you could program it to respond to things like that.
Yeah. So, or Xbox on. I'm still mystified why they don't create like 5 commands for Xbox turn on, Xbox off. It's like, I cannot tell you the amount of times I've been standing there like an idiot, looking at my box going, Xbox turn on.
Yeah.
You know?
It's even more embarrassing when you like crouch down a little bit and get closer to the Kinect. Just standing there, like,
I do that shit all the
if I
time.
lean over a little bit, it'll hear me better.
You're on your own there, man. I haven't done that.
That's fair. No
I do that.
it, so it's all good.
I walk by closely and kind of whisper to it. Xbox, turn on.
It seems to go in waves. Like it'll work great for a week, and then for a week it seems to not recognize my first attempt. But
Yeah, I alleviate that problem by just never turning it off.
Oh yeah. By the way, our guy here, Average Gamer guy, he has, if he can help it, not turned off his Xbox One since it launched.
That's
Really?
That is
Yep.
correct. Except for updates and, if there's a storm or something
Yeah.
and I lose power, but every
Or your-
single hour of the day it is on. And I have had it nary an issue.
Yeah, but I haven't had a single issue with it. Actually, both boxes were like launched pretty good and relatively bug free. Like I kind of feel bad for Nintendo in that way because they're like the simple child in the corner. Love me, love me.
Yep.
Whereas Microsoft and Sony are more like vying for our love, and that's good. That's the way it should be. They should be fighting for our love. What the fanboys on either side don't get is that competition is good. If they're desperate to win eyeballs, this is good for
Everyone.
Whereas I don't like at the moment I'm playing a PC game, a tablet game, a couple of console games, and about 10 different iPhone games. And what are you guys playing at the moment?
We're all I shouldn't say all of us because Average is always playing something. I think a few of us are in kind of that post-Destiny beta lull where we don't know what to play.
So we
Destiny
we
was
play
so
a little
good.
bit of everything every different day. Like we did Titanfall a couple of days ago. We did, a couple of us did some 360 games. We go back and we try. Chanogram's playing on his
Warframe.
PlayStation 4. Warframe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My last week consisted of F1 2013, Rise Center Rome, Titanfall, Watch Dogs, Battlefield 4.
What are you thinking of Watch Dogs?
I like Watch Dogs.
Yeah,
I like. Go ahead. So you were
I was just gonna say I think all of us have beaten it now, right?
Yep.
Yep. So
I like what they're going to do with it.
I thought it was I liked it, but I thought it was just they could have put a Assassin's Creed logo on it, and
that's what it is. It's
I
Assassin's Creed Chicago.
Okay. Yeah, basically, yes. Yeah.
And that's why I said I like what they're going to do with it, because what they're basically going to do is prevent them from making an Assassin's Creed in the future and use Watch Dogs to fill that gap. I think they'll never do Assassin's Creed past old history and stuff like that, and they'll use Watch Dogs to do the modern day.
Oh yeah, now I know what you mean. Yeah, I would agree with that. The other thing that I Unity, I'm looking forward to, but I was kind of bummed that they took this. They're not putting the sailing into it.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a great piece of Assassin's Creed 4.
Dude, I would go away and fucking be upgrading the shit out of my ship, okay? And it was awesome because I would come back to the actual main tranche of the story and be going, what the fuck's going on here? I haven't been in the story for a week,
right.
And I played the shit out of that, I was it was just my thing. It was with, everyone was going for, in Titanfall, everyone is going for the Titan, or trying to get in a Titan, or wait until they're. Have you guys played? You guys played Titanfall, I assume, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So everyone is waiting around, and avoiding getting killed until they've got a Titan. Okay. Yeah. And I'm there, and I'm going, oh fuck that shit.
Right.
And I'm going, fuck that shit, and I'm running towards them. Now, disclaimer: I suck badly at shooters on console. I fucking, and I'm I would say, competition standard at PC. So, like I said, I play everything, but it's just one of those games where it's like the sailing in Assassin's Creed. I gravitated towards that, and not getting in a Titan is what I gravitated towards in Titanfall. What sort of weapons do you use in Titanfall?
I could speak to me, and I use the carbine almost exclusively unless I'm going for a regen requirement or a daily or something like that. It's just the best all-around weapon for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll mix it up. Yeah.
I like being a sneaky so my favorite is capture the flag.
I love
well, Average might be the only one here who likes that game mode.
Well,
other than Kevin, yeah.
Here's the thing: when you play capture the flag, you have to play with people that want to play it with you, or you will get massacred. Like it is hard when you're not playing with somebody that's communicating. But that's what I like about it. I don't like it to be easy.
I'm normally hanging somewhere or hiding somewhere, waiting for a motherfucker to go with the get the flag, and then I'll just come out with the shotgun and blow his fucking face off. And it's awesome because they always bitch about the shotgun. Always. They're always like, fucking noob shotgun. I'm like, yep.
It's like every game with the shotguns like that.
I'll never understand it. The argument with sniper rifles and first-person shooters. Oh my God, it's overpowered. You do realize that sniper rifles are designed by nature to one-shot kill people, right? Like, how is it overpowered?
Super hole in your chest.
Right.
Did you ever see the movie with Mark Wahlberg, Danny Glover, the one where he's going to kill the president?
Shooter?
Yep.
Shooter, that's it, yeah. Like, did you see the way where he blows the guys or shoots the guy in the arm with the sniper rifle?
Yeah.
Like his arm fucking came off. Okay? And did you see the size of the fucking bullets? Those bullets.
Right.
Yep.
They're massive.
They're like, I work with the guys from Operation Supply Drop, which it's like a charity for video gamers who are serving in the armed services overseas. Okay, so like EA, Microsoft, all of these guys will give them like a shit ton of game codes and say, there you go. Okay, nice. And then they get like the actual internet, the whole Microsoft always on thing about guys that are serving in Iraq and Afghanistan. I was like going, but what are you talking about? All of these bases have internet access. Okay, and guess what? You're not allowed, if you're going out on a patrol, you're not allowed to bring your fucking Xbox with you.
Yeah, I think you have bigger concerns than worrying about whether or not your Xbox has a connection in those days. So
yeah.
You got things to do, son.
Now I can understand if you're a sniper and you bring, the game case, the Vanguard with the monitor inside.
Yeah.
You've got like a little portable battery and you're there for like 2 days and you're just like fucking buzzing off with that. But now you've got Oculus Rift for that as well. So, yeah. So
best sniper training in the world.
Yeah, it's okay. I tell you, it's like there used to be a game, and I'm old. I'm 41. So there used to be a game. You guys probably don't remember this, but there's a game called Delta Force 2.
Oh my gosh, the voxel one, the voxel-based thing. I love that game. I play the hell out of that game.
So I was a sniper in that, and I was fucking lethal.
Yeah.
Okay, because I would go out like about 2 clicks and just go prone. Okay, so no one's gonna fucking shoot me. Okay, go prone, and I would just be taking out guys that were like 2 clicks away, and it was hard as fuck to do. Okay, there was me and probably about another 20 guys in the competition that could actually do it, but you had to. It was one of the first games with bullet drop.
Yep.
And it could be the wind would impact your shot, so you'd have to aim up to the like far right hand corner if the guy was in the center of your screen. Okay, and because of the voxels, okay, the voxels acted as like a cover, camouflage for you, so you could just be there forever. Okay, then it all went away. So, someone developed a tracer hack, so you could see where the bullet was coming from. And they'd have someone actively running around out there to do melee attacks. So you spend 20 minutes, like it would take you like literally 20 minutes to run out there. and then some asshole fucking comes along and knifes you after you've killed like 2 of his guys only, you know, as opposed to what you'd normally get be like about 40 kills.
Yeah.
So
Gotta love the hackers.
That was a good game.
That was a great game. That was like, I often tell people I rate that higher than Counter-Strike.
I still have the box for that game.
Do you really?
Yeah, I'm 33. I'm not in the 40s, but yeah, I remember that game very vividly.
Yeah. Yeah, I will be 37 in November, so yeah, I've had my fair share of old games
Yeah,
too.
our youngest member, the one that likes Nintendo, strangely enough, isn't here, and he's 26. The rest of us are 30s.
Okay.
Yeah, we're all pretty old kids-ish.
Okay. So
Yeah, good.
I got into Delta Force before I got into the industry, and this side of the industry. I was in mobile gaming before, and I was looking at Delta Force in my electronics boutique. That is what they used to call it.
EV games.
So
Wow. Funko Land.
yeah. So I walk in and I got 2 games. One was a used. I think it was Soldier of Fortune 1 and Delta Force. So I load Delta Force onto the machine, and I'm like going, okay. So I played through the mission, and I'm like, oh, okay, that was fun, you know. And then I've clocked the game. I'm like, what do I play now? I was like, I'll play Soldier of Fortune. And I was like, what's that play online stuff? Now I had internet, so I was like, okay. So I clicked the button, and I was always good with an AK-47, and I was like, I get in there and I see the NPCs, and I start like killing the NPCs, and one guy goes, "Your mother's a fucking cunt." And wow, this dialogue is really edgy. Like, wow. Like, how did they get internal approval to do that? And then it was like, "You're a fucking fag. You're gonna suck my dick after I kill you." I'm like, wow. Like, what? And it took me like a good 3 minutes to figure out these were actually real people. And I was like going, because I was like kind of looking around, you know, for the camera and going, what the fuck is going on here, you know? So yeah, that was in the early 90s, back in the day.
Funny how it hasn't really changed much.
No.
No.
Started bad,
It's
ended
pretty
bad.
much the same.
Yeah, but now you know there's fucking humans on it when you're going in, and like I had a thing called an ISDN, which is basically 2 phone lines giving you 64 KB each, and you're muxing them together, which means you're combining the power of them or multiplexing them, which means you're combining the bandwidth for them. Yeah. So I was getting like 128K, and all of my friends were fucking jealous. They were like going, "Oh, you son of a bitch."
Yeah.
But holy shit, my phone bill was fucking through the fucking roof.
I bet.
I can only imagine.
I'd have like a phone bill of like $600, and it was like shit, they were raping on the ISDN charges. Anyway, so yeah, that part. Have you guys played Hearthstone yet?
I don't know if any of us actually have.
No, my coworkers told me to play it, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah, we had a buddy, Monday Monkey, that was just playing through it right before we started up the call. And he was talking about building his decks up. I was like, bring it to the Android, and I'll play it, because I'm not going to go and buy an iPad. Sorry.
It's on PC too.
You're like
I'm lazy.
That's like the Nintendo version of a tablet, Android. You know.
Full disclosure. I work for Windows Phone, so.
I have a question for you, Kevin.
Okay, shoot.
I'll give you a little backstory before I ask him.
Okay.
Last 2 years, when I go on the internet, I don't go to IGN, I don't go to GameSpot, I don't go to Game Informer, I don't go to any of those websites because of the lack of actual journalism that happens on those sites nowadays. A lot of, to me anyway, a lot of game reviews that are actually just opinions in the disguise of a review, and clickbait articles to get people to come and take a look at the website and click on ads and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
As a developer, like looking at some of the stuff that's going on the internet with gaming, and to me, just the total lack of journalism. How do you attack that as a
Well, there's people like I'm definitely not gonna start slinging mud at guys, but what I will say is what I do is I figure out who has similar taste in me, and and in terms of news, like there's 3 guys I focus on, and that is Brian Crescente from Polygon, Alexander Slowinski from Joystick, and to a certain extent Michael Footer. Although Michael's a bit green and he writes some stupid shit sometimes, but Michael Footer from Game Informer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Slowinski and Crescente will, in terms of news, they will, if they don't have 2 sources, 2 direct sources, by the way, they're not going to print the story.
Oh my God!
So
I would love that.
so you just gotta. And Mike
journalists.
Mike McWhirter at Polygon is pretty good as well. Ben Gilbert at Engadget, who focuses a lot of his energies on video games, is very good. But the problem is that you come from a time when you had people like Jeff Green, who was writing for 1UP, and those guys were brought up on the ethics of journalism. Like, I never go to IGN anymore, to be honest. I like Greg. I think he's the only talented guy there right now, and I think a lot of his friends fly on his coattails. Like Andrew Goldfarb was pretty good.
No, I agree, because I have not willingly clicked on an IGN article in over a year. Like, I'll link it if I have to for the sake of our website. Like, if something that's like, okay, it was posted on IGN, I got to give them their props, but I don't do it willingly. It's like you take a piece of my soul every time I click it.
Like, the way we are in the industry is that we understand that we've got to make nice with these guys, and a lot of them are our friends, by the way. Like the 3 journalists that I mentioned, I'm friends with, also consider like Andy McNamara from Game Informer a friend. All of these people, but they're really, there's no one that's I would consider like a bad guy. You bring up a very interesting point. Then there's guys like Jim Sterling, who drives me absolutely crazy for the simple reason that I've seen Jim write, and I've seen him report on stuff, and I know he knows right from wrong. But the problem these days is that you've got an environment where YouTubers are lighting their hair on fire, and they're getting
all the clicks.
They're getting all the clicks, but if you put them in front of a real person, like. I'd recommend to your guys to look up 2 interviews, or Google 2 interviews. Google Angry Joe interviews Major Melton, and Angry Joe interviews Jeff Keighley. Okay, now both of those guys spanked the fuck out of Angry Joe. So at the VGAs, Angry Joe was doing the red carpet. He tried to interview Jeff Keighley, and then he basically just grabbed Jeff before the event started. And he was like, you've got to give me like 2 minutes. He promised me 2 minutes. And Jeff was like, I said you could like approach me on the red carpet, but okay, fine. So he was like, and he was just totally hostile. He was just like, well, why don't you have a PC category? And Jeff was like, we do have a PC category. And he was like, oh, well, that's new. And he goes, no, it's like 4 years old. And I'm not, by the way, I'm not defending the VGAs at all in any way, shape, or form.
God, no.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that Joe came in like a complete amateur, and Jeff spanked him. Okay, and Jeff's not the type of guy that spanks people. He's like a good guy, and he'll actually avoid making you look like a douchebag. But after about the third question, I know Jeff well, and Jeff was just like, "Oh, fuck it, you know what? It's on." So Joe was like going, what do you guys have against MMOs? Like, why don't you have like an MMO category? And Katie's like going, you really haven't done your research, Joe, have you? You just come here, you're drinking the booze. Have you been drinking today? And he was like, no, I'd like you to answer my question. And he was like, do you mean the MMO category that we've had for the last like 6 years? And he goes, anyway, Joe, you do your research and come back to me when that's done. And he just walked off.
Good stuff.
I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to go find that one.
I got to find that one too.
Yeah, I know I've seen the Major Nelson one for sure. That one was pretty brutal.
Yeah, and like Larry, like in front of a camera, there's no one I wouldn't screw, or no one I'd be more reluctant to screw over than Larry Herb. Okay, the guy. Yeah. I spent a week with him in Russia doing a thing called the Imagine Cup last year. And it was awesome because it was him, it was Sessler, and it was Alexei.
Sessler.
Yeah.
I remember watching some coverage on that, and I was just like, oh, God, I would love to be there. That is so awesome to watch all these little guys try to compete and make some cool stuff.
Funny enough, the Sessler and the guys were like the only upside for the entire event. The entire event was a shit show. I've traveled around the world, and that's the first time in my entire career and actually life where I've said I never want to go there again.
Oh wow!
It was like Russia is a absolute shithole, and I know I'm like inciting myself to hatred from Russian guys. I don't care. I was in St. Petersburg for an entire week, and it was like a third world country. It was like, there were like rat scratches on the fucking hotel door on my side. So the fucking mice were trying to get out of there.
That's how bad the room was.
I wish I was kidding. I'm
Holy shit.
I go for a nap one afternoon, okay? And like the room like looks like a bomb hit it because I've got like fucking wire cables everywhere and whatever fucking there's no mini bar, so there was like full bottles of vodka like tucked under my pillow. Where I stuck on and cry myself to sleep and by the night, I guess. So I wake up, I go for a nap, and I wake up. The fucking room is clean. The maid just came in and cleaned while I was sleeping.
Oh wow!
Wow!
And it was like super fucking creepy. So Russia was a shithole. So the only upside was Larry, Sessler, and Alexei. Alexei's the guy that invented Tetris.
Yeah.
Yep.
I watched that interview with him and Sess. Oh. He's such a great guy.
I miss Sessler. I really miss Sessler in gaming.
I know.
Yeah, it's, like you got to understand that. So think about it like this, okay? So in let's say 2003, okay, a senior journalist would be getting paid probably around 80 grand a year, okay, at an IGN or someone like that, okay? You had people like Levi Buchanan, Jeff Green, Sessler, okay? So now the average salary in these companies is 35 grand a year.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Now, imagine being someone with a master's degree, okay? And you're basically saying, okay, I've got my student loans, I've got the wife, and I've got the kids, okay? And you've got to survive on like 35, 40 grand a year.
And then take all this shit from these assholes in this industry. Yeah, it's not worth it at all.
Yeah, so you're not gonna get. The only people you're gonna get are the crazies. Like of the people I mentioned, the only ones that would be on the lower end salary would be someone like Michael Futter, who's only new to the industry, relatively new. He's only in it a couple of years. Okay, but Michael has an MBA, 2 masters, and 2 bachelors.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you're looking at probably about $1.50 on student loans. Okay, now luckily his wife's like a neurologist.
Oh, wow.
You know, and perhaps not too smart because, you know, she didn't see it coming that he wanted to be a journalist with like 5 So yeah, like, to answer your question, we're in a crisis right now. And the problem is that, like, there was a thing the other day about some guy commented on one of the sites about ad block. And basically said, you know what, you guys have to figure out a way to do this without ads. Or
find a way for your car to run without gas, idiot.
Yeah. So to answer your question, the only way to do it is if people start getting a better response on their ads, the salaries start going up, and because like all you're going to get is like the YouTube fucking crazies. Now there are great YouTube guys. There are YouTube guys that I will just stare at and go, oh my god, they're genius. I don't know why they're genius, but they're fucking genius. Like PewDiePie. I can watch the shit out of PewDiePie because he just has that personality.
Right.
You know, that you just go, okay, you're a cool dude. Whereas Jim Sterling, I look at him and go fuck yourself, you're a fucking asshole. Right? And furthermore, he knows better than to act like that, and he still does it. So he's a double asshole. Okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's Jim knows where I stand, and I'm even more disappointed in Jim because he's way better than that. You know,
and I think that's my issue. Like, I know a lot of them are a lot better than the crap that they write, but they fall into that. Well, if I got to get somebody to the site, then I got to do what I got to do to get somebody to the site. And No, go ahead.
Sorry, man. Sorry for talking over you. It's just the only thing I would say is that, you know, reviews. The only way you can do an honest review is you can only speak from your own perspective and then guess other people's. Okay, so if someone doesn't, and besides that, that's why I said at the top of this issue, if you don't like something, you know, like or if you don't like someone's writing, I just don't click on it. You know, like I really really like Ben Kuchera as a person, but I'm fucked if I click on half of the stuff because it's like, are you guys familiar with Ben?
I've heard the name. Where does he write for?
He does the opinion pieces on Polygon.
Yeah, I'm a fan of him actually, a little bit.
So he does, like, Polygon are on this weird trip at the moment where they're doing like this whole like pop culture thing, where they're not focused on games. So they're moving away from their base, and obviously like. They've got a lot of expensive guys there, so they're trying to figure that out. And I think that's a mistake. I thought Russ Pitts, who is their features editor, who I consider to be like a really brilliant and talented man, because features, you always make a loss on features because people don't click on them, okay? Because they're like normally 1,500, 2,000 words. And people are just like going, holy shit, this is long. I'm not going to read that on my phone. So they were trimming down. They got rid of him, but I thought that was a waste because you're losing people that are willing to spend that time reading that content and engaging more in the community. Whereas what Ben is doing now, in my opinion, and Ben probably disagrees with me, but he's like shouting at the sky all the time. Okay, it's like we have an equality issue, okay, in games, and there was a thing I tweeted out today. It was a picture. It's hard to describe, but it basically gave the distinction between equality and justice.
Yep, I saw that. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and it was basically 3 kids. All the kids were different heights, and on the equality pane, they were standing on one box, or the same box, same size. So 2 of the guys couldn't see, and 1 of the guys could see. Whereas basically then, 2 of the guys could see, but 1 of the guys couldn't see. And then on the next cartoon pane, one of the kids were standing on 2 of the boxes, and one of them was standing on 1 box, and the other one was standing on none, and everyone could see. So we do have in terms of the numbers, if you just look at the numbers, there's very few African Americans working in the industry. There's a lot of Asians. I was talking to a friend at Sony one day at lunch, and he was doing a public-facing thing, and he was saying, "Who do you think I should get for it?" And I was like, and this is when Jeff Rubenstein was still at Sony, and I was like, "Well, get Jeff." And he was like, "Oh, it's just another white guy there." And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "We need to be more diverse." And I was like, "You've got more diversity than any." I said, "We're the only 2 white guys in this." They have a little cafe there. I was like, "We're the only 2 white guys that have come in here in the last hour." And I said, "What about those people?" And he's like, "They don't count because they're programmers." Okay, so forward-facing leaders, we don't have much of, and we need that in the minority world. People talk about privilege a lot in the industry, and they make assumptions. People look at me and they go, "Okay, Irish white guy." Okay, they don't understand the different geopolitical aspects and geosocial aspects around the world, and they just go, "Oh yeah, you're just another white guy." Try being an Irish white Jewish guy. Okay, in Ireland. Okay, my people killed Jesus, as far as they're concerned.
Right.
Right. You were just loved.
I had an aunt who used to mind me during the day when my mom was working, and I was 5 or something, and she would pat me on the head and she'd call me a dirty heap. Okay, to her friends. Wow. She'd be like, "Oh, God help him, he's a dirty heap."
Wow.
And she'd go, "But I love him, he's grand,"
Gotta love family.
Oh man.
But there's a guy called Rami Ismail, who is one of the founders of Vlambeer. Okay, so he has this website about how many times he's been screened, okay, by the TSA or stopped by airport security at some airport around the world because of his race. He's a Egyptian. His ethnicity is Egyptian. So I was thinking back to my time. Keep in mind, I was in Ireland during the height of the Troubles with the IRA. So I would go to airports anywhere in the fucking world, and I would be stopped. I'd be pulled off planes, okay, just because of my Irish passport. Okay, I used to be proud to be a dual citizen, and then I fucking had to stop using my Irish passport because I couldn't get anywhere. Then you'd go to airport security and they'd say to me, "Huh, American passport, that accent. Okay, can you just stand over there, please?" And then I'd get fucking screamed even more. So when I see Rami bitching about security, I'm going, yeah, try being Irish at the height of the Troubles. Okay, there wasn't much privilege there, So I think it's all perception. Okay.
Yeah.
I always use Ireland as the model for the game industry because we're a relatively innocent and young industry, and there's certain things we don't understand. And I was fortunate enough to work with a lady called Stephanie Morgan for pretty much the majority of my career, in one way, shape, or form. And she was like the studio director. I worked for her. I worked then alongside her, and we just had a really good relationship. But like, she was just hiring whoever was best at their job. And I was talking to her about a year ago about this, and I was like, oh, maybe we should have made a bit of effort to take another look at resumes and hire people that maybe just didn't have the best resume, but, you know, because they were like not represented in the industry as much. And she was like, yeah. She was like, I did that in my next job. She worked for a company called NG Moco, which is a mobile gaming company. And she said it worked out really good. Anyway, I went on a bit of a rant there, but I think diversity in the industry is super fucking important. I think, yes, we should have it, but I think that I should be definitely contributing to making that less of an issue in terms of like people I hire for projects and all that sort of stuff. But we need more leaders. We need more female leaders. We need more African American leaders. And more Asian. Actually, the fucking Asians are fine.
I was like, yeah, Sega and Nintendo and Sony, they should be all right.
Yeah, they're pretty much well represented. But anyway, my point.
No, but I know what you.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, because it also opens up more content, though, because, I mean, don't get me wrong, they'll tell you, you know, anybody that knows me will tell you, I play just about anything that's released that's interesting. But there are so many other stories to tell, but you don't get to listen to those stories, or you don't get to experience those stories because they're always being written by the same people. When I saw the trailer for Ori and the Blind Forest, and then there's another indie game, the first indie game coming out of Alaska, as a matter of fact, like, those games interest me because it's something that we've never seen before.
I'm sorry, but I draw a line at any state that produced Sarah Palin.
Well, I got you. Everyone makes a mistake. You gotta, you know, you can't ostracize the whole state because of
why not? Why can't
one drunk night? You know, one drunk night in the back of a Chevy with a flat tire. I mean,
we can't get rid of Canada just because of Justin Bieber, but I would really like to try. I mean, come on.
Well, why can't we lean on Canada? You know?
They'll just crush us with their health care, and I mean, it's all.
Man, I swear to God, did you see the whole Orlando Bloom and Justin Bieber?
That was wonderful.
Yeah, where's Orlando Bloom's boys? You know, like, if I was one of Orlando Bloom's boys, I'd be there, you know, he misses, I come in with a fucking hammer blow. Like, there's a great video on YouTube where a paparazzi in London was, like, getting too close or hassling Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber gets out of, like, a minivan, and I shit you not, it was like a soccer mom's minivan. And he's like, what? All right, and he starts going for the photographer, and he's got his, like, bodyguard, whose, like, wrist is bigger than Justin Bieber's waist, holding him. And he's like, don't hold me back. Hold me back. No, don't hold me back. Please, hold me back.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I can't go to jail. I'm too pretty.
He's like, awesome. But yeah, there was that. So, yes, I would, if I was Orlando Bloom, I'd be pissed off at my friends right now. And it's not that I'm a violent person, but I'd make an exception for him, you know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we all would.
Dude, like, I like hip-hop music, and I was looking at this whole fucking thing that went down with him. I don't know if you remember this, but a couple of years ago, so there's a couple of hip-hop podcasts where, like, really big stars come on and just, like, freestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And Justin Bieber wanted to go on one of them. and he was basically saying, "Yeah, this would be really cool." And then he turned up with pre-scripted rhymes. And the guys were like, "Oh, no. Just want to, I'm posting a link down there. So, oh shit, I didn't post the fucking whole link. Give me 1 second. So, you know Chris Pratt?
Yes.
So, he blew me away today. So, he was on, you know, DJ Woo Kid?
What was it? I'm sorry.
I don't know.
DJ Woo Kid. It's a hip hop show. And he was on that, and he basically was like going, "Oh yeah, I love rap and I love hip hop." And the guys were like going, "Okay, you know, another." This is, by the way, this is the guy from the new Marvel movie that I'm talking about.
Yep, Guardians of the Galaxy. Great movie, by the way, if you haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen it, but I haven't seen it just because it's pissing off a couple of friends. And I will go to see it, but I just want to troll them a bit. Because they're like, "You've got to go and see it." And I'm like, "It's probably not going to be as good as everyone says," you know, and I'll be disappointed. So anyway, so he goes on the show, and he just starts fucking, he's like going, "Oh yeah, I like hip hop," and the guy's like going, "Yeah, right, whatever." He's like, "No, dude, really, I lived in Maui with a friend, and we lived in a van, and all we do is smoke weed and like sing Eminem songs." And he was like, "Okay, yeah, whatever." And without being asked or anything, he just starts rhyming, and it was like fucking awesome. Like Eminem is really hard to do, especially for a white guy. That's like super duper duper white. And Chris Pratt is super duper duper white. So when he was like going, when he was like going, "Oh yeah, like I love hip hop," I was like going, "Oh my gosh," you know. Like there's a good friend of mine, John Benaki, who is are you familiar with Infinity, the game? It's the Disney game.
Oh
yeah, heard of it.
Infinity. Yeah.
Yeah. So he is the executive producer on that, and he knows the words to so many hip hop and rap songs that it's incredible. Okay, but he is the whitest fucking rapper you've ever heard in your life. It's like imagine your accountant rapping.
Oh man.
He's got no skills whatsoever. He remembers the words and all that sort of stuff, but I just, you know, I don't want to embarrass him, but yeah,
doesn't quite come out the same, huh?
So yeah, so Chris Pratt is fucking apparently awesome in this, and he seems like an awesome guy. So yeah. By the way, have you guys played Gone Home?
I have not. It's on. I think I actually own it on Steam. I just haven't actually played it yet.
Should give it a go. Should definitely give it a go.
I've watched a couple of people watch it on YouTube, but I really need to. I haven't been on Steam for quite some time, which is unfortunate.
So for me, I don't play a lot of indie games because they annoy the fuck out of me.
Yeah, that's kind of how I am. Yeah.
Well, it's like either a lot of self-pretentious shit, or it's like as an example, the Alaskan game sounds fine, but the indie spin on that would be, oh, you've got an Alaskan Eskimo and they've become friends with a whale, and instead of hunting the whale and killing the whale, they become friends with it and live inside its mouth and travel the world, you know? Whereas I look at the whale and I'm like going, how do I kill it?
Right. You go Captain Kenway on it immediately.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I was fucking awesome at that. I think at the end of it, I never even lost a single harpoon. I'd be just fucking hooking those harpoons out there like a pro. And the secret to it was you didn't have to be really like careful and sort of dainty when you were throwing them. You didn't have to like guide it. If you just got it and you got them lined up, you just go doo, 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 and you'd see them moving out of your space. But anyway, yeah. So I think a lot of indie games are A, not well thought out. B, they'd be generously classified as good prototypes in the world of real video games. And this is actually an important part because what we're going to see, like we're in a bubble right now, okay? There's not too many indie games being made. There's not enough good indie games being made.
Yeah, I will agree with that. Yeah. When I look at the PS4, that's immediately what I think about, to be honest.
Well, like Octodad got great reviews. I played it, and I'm like going, this is dog shit. This is
which game was that?
Octodad.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
And all these reviewers are like going, oh, this is so amazing. Okay, here's what people won't tell you, okay, from these sites, is that the journalists like writing the stories. The editors hate publishing them because it's dead space. No one clicks on them, okay? It is a tiny amount of traffic. Basically, it's like War and Peace or The Lord of the Rings. Everyone likes to have a copy of those books on their bookshelf, and their friends come over and they go, oh my God, you read Lord of the Rings? And you go, yeah, I read Lord of the Rings before. It was cool, baby. And they're all like going, wow, that's amazing, you know? And that's what indie games are like, okay, for the majority of the part right now. In 2 years' time, what will happen is some guys will learn great skills and they'll go and join people like Black Tusk, Epic Games, Sony Santa Monica, and they'll gravitate into jobs and they'll become normal human beings, okay? But like, if you look at Ridiculous Fishing or like anything Lambeer makes, okay, you can see the game mechanic is really well thought out and they have some really, really good ideas, but they're not a success story. Their games have sold a few million in terms of dollars, and that's great for them, the two guys, okay? But we're talking about an industry that's going to produce $100 billion in revenue this year.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
These indie games don't move the needle. Okay, there's a guy called Genova Chen who delivered us Journey and Flower. Okay, great game designer. So I know Genova pretty well. So I've seen him at E3. GDC this year. And I was like, hey, dude, how are you doing? And he was like, hey, how are you? And I'm like, pretty good. I said, congrats on cracking the top 10. And he said, what top 10? And I said, Sony's digital top 10. I said, you're number 2. And he was like, I'm number 2? And I'm like, yeah. And he said, for Journey? And I said, no, for Flower. And he was like, oh my fucking God. And he was like, how can I be number 2? And I was like, because they've got all of the newer indie titles that people look at and they go, fuck that shit. I'm not downloading that. Okay? So some people, or the majority of people, don't give a shit about indie games. There is a market for indie games, and it's awesome. There should be a market for indie games. But we shouldn't, like, jump ahead of ourselves and think that indie games are the be-all and end-all. Okay, like the indie game,
the savior of the industry by any means, shape, or form.
Okay, so people talk about the size of the indie game market, and they say, well, you know, Minecraft has made how much money? Okay.
Oh God, not that one. The one exception to the rule.
Literally the one exception, because I will turn around and say, okay, well, what's the number 2 best selling indie game? And no one can tell me. They'll give me answers, but like they're not speaking from fact. They're speaking from well, this
what
game.
What they think, right?
Yeah. So it's all AAA. It's going to remain AAA. It might go free to play. The reason I asked about Hearthstone is because Hearthstone is the first free-to-play game that I've actually spent real money. I've spent like $200 on it. And I didn't do it because I felt I had to. I was like going, okay, yeah, I can see there's value in this. You know, it felt like there was, like, they weren't forcing me to spend the money, and it wasn't pay to win. It was like more like pay to accelerate getting all the cards that I want.
Right.
Okay, so, and
it's like with a real card game, you need to go out and you need to expand your deck in order to build a deck that you find appropriate.
Exactly, it's just like Magic the Gathering or something like that.
I used to love that game back in the day.
Yeah, so this is very much the case, but they made me, so from that perspective, I like the free-to-play game. Shooter free-to-play is, you know, I don't know what Cliffy B is going to do with Boss Key Studios.
Are you a fan of Cliffy?
I know Cliffy, and I think Cliffy has a heart of gold. I think Cliffy gets led astray by hangers-on. I think Cliffy is the best guy in the world to work with a game designer. I think Cliffy can look at a game and say, this is, actually, let me rephrase that. I think Cliffy's the best person in the entire world today that can look at a game and say, this is what you need to put the fun in the game.
Okay.
You need a lancer, you need a gun with a chainsaw on it.
Well, yeah, like who thinks of that stuff?
Right.
You know, like, who literally sits down and goes, you know what? You're right. Okay, we should have that. We should have a chainsaw in the game that's attached to the gun that you can kill the people with. And you're right. You know what? You should be able to rip the guy's arm from his body and beat his skull in with his own arm. Like
in multiplayer, no less.
Yeah, in multiplayer. Like, dude, the first time I did that, I was just like, great. I just stopped. I got fragged because I stopped. I just automatically did it from the button combinations, and I was like, wait, what? What the fuck was that? I was like, that's the coolest thing ever, and I was like running after guys trying to do that again.
That is great.
I was playing in a league, and some guys would like literally use that tactic against me because they would send out the guy who was shit, and they put him in the open. I'd see him, and I'd start sprinting towards him, bouncing off walls and all this shit, and then I'd catch up to him, and there'd be fucking 3 guys just around the corner where I caught up to him, and they'd fucking kill him. So. But it was just I was addicted to fucking ripping guys' arms off and hitting them in the skull with it, you know.
But curb stomp.
So to answer your question, Cliffy is actually a really decent human being. Okay, Cliffy's public persona is not his private persona, and Cliffy needs. If I was managing Cliffy or advising Cliffy, I'd be saying to Cliffy, dude, get rid of the agent. He uses an agent called Ophir Lupu. I get him to do that. I would say he should have ever left Epic. That was a mistake. I think he had a safe home there, and he didn't have to work particularly hard. So where's the upside in leaving? But yeah, overall he's a good guy. Like, I know the guy personally. I've met the guy a bunch of times. His wife follows me on Twitter, which I remind him of. So yeah, and like the thing that if I was to have a magic wand, okay, and I was to be given a wish for anything in the industry, and I could just cast a wish and it would come true, it'd be like for for fans to lose the anger.
Yeah.
Like, there's guys in Microsoft that are best friends with guys in Sony, and vice versa. There are guys. Yeah. There are guys at DICE who make Battlefield that are best friends with guys at Respawn who make Titanfall. They're, you know, you've got guys that don't like each other, obviously, but like no one really fucking hates each other. And we look at the fans, we go to Neo and we just shake our heads and we're like, going, these aren't normal people.
No,
like, this hatred is not normal.
No.
I think it's very it's competitive, but at the end of the day, you're still shaking hands right after the game's released.
Well, it's not even competitive. It's like so one of someone I consider a close friend is a guy called Dave Jaffe, who made Twisted Metal, Calling Up.
Yeah. He's pretty interesting.
God of War. He's a very interesting guy. He's like Cliffy. He can't communicate on Twitter. And
videos were quite interesting there for a little bit, right around Twisted Metal. That was, whew, he was getting a little angry about some stuff in the industry.
Oh yeah, he was just getting angry because he couldn't understand the industry, the way it was going. So, like, I would look at someone like David, and David's the most loving, chilled out dude ever when you have him in the right mode. But if you get his back up, he'll he will just rip you apart. Like on God of War, it was his way or the highway. And you can say what you want, but he created God of fucking War. Okay? So you can't say he was wrong, you know? When he produces Calling All Cars, then you can say, okay, he's wrong. Okay? Because you've got a metric there, and he loves that game, by the way. He really loves it, and he won't let it go. And I'm like, just let it go, baby.
Yeah.
We all make bad games. Like, I was working on a game last year, actually, that was turning out to be a shit show, and the other guy working on it was a guy called Jason. And Jason had never developed the game before. And he'd be like going, hey, what about this? And he had the majority of the money in the game. So he'd be like, he was, whatever he said he was doing. So I basically said, I'm going to kind of step back from this. It was a game called Recoil. It went on XBLA and Steam. And the idea was it was basically going to be...
I watched that interview with you at PAX 2012.
Yeah, and we wanted to create a more sort of scaled down shooter, just like an arena shooter.
Yeah.
And that was the vision, and then he just started to overcomplicate it, and the team, I don't think, responded well. And it was just like a shit show. And then we had to sign with 505, who were like the worst goddamn publishers ever. So, because we basically ran out of money, or he ran out of money for the game. So we went with those guys, and it was just like, oh my god, this is fucking awful. We had a PR lady with 505 who was just a fucking nightmare. She was just like, and she was like, there's really, 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 really good PR people in the industry, and there's really, really fucking bad, sadistic motherfuckers as well. And like she
the
was,
rest of the world.
Seriously, we're talking about like 3 6s on the skull here, you know? Like, she was the devil. And I don't mind evil once evil is competent. When evil is just like, every time I would criticize her, she would say, I worked on Call of Duty, and I'd be like, dude. Like,
that wasn't work. Call of Duty does its own work. What the fuck do you mean?
I'm currently drinking a can of Red Bull. I could pay that can of Red Bull $50,000 a year, and it would do just as good a job on the PR campaign of Call of Duty. Because all you've got to do is say, here you go, here are all the assets. Okay, you want to write a story, here's all the news, here's all the press releases, here's all the quotes. Done. Okay, there is no strategy. Your PR strategy is basically tell people about it, but like a real PR strategy is when you're working on something like Aubrey Norris is someone I consider to be one of the best. There's like Aubrey Norris, who runs Deep Silver's PR. There is Stephanie Shops, who does all of the Valver Digital's PR, and she works for a few other companies as well. She's really good. There's Stone Chin, who does all of the PR for Infinity Blade. Sorry, not Infinity Blade. Fucking Assassin's Creed. Still a good franchise to run. So he, like, last year at San Diego Comic Con, I don't know if you remember this, but Black Flag was about to come out, and he wanted to get a big impact, so he rented a fucking pirate ship.
Yes, I do remember that.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's good PR. Like, that's just fucking...
That's fucking original right there.
That's dark art.
That's every kid's wet dream PR right there. Like, you can't go wrong with that.
He's just like, so these people are awesome. So it's not just about having a big budget, but like, there's certain IPs that it doesn't matter what, like at this stage, like I am actually looking forward to this coming Call of Duty. Because it's the first time since Black Ops 1 where I've gone, oh, this actually looks cool. Every other piece of shit fucking Call of Duty that brought out, like Black Ops 2, I didn't enjoy at all. Ghost, I thought was an insult to gamers.
Yeah. Just exactly the way I feel. I haven't bought one since BL1.
Yeah.
Or
and
BL1.
like, I don't blame it's all the iterations that you've got to go through, and that's the danger. So, yeah, the industry's in a strange place at the moment because everyone is like saying, "Oh man, I'm going to go indie," because they think that going indie is the solution. And you've got brilliant people like Adam Orth. Are you familiar with Adam Orth? He's the dealer.
Yep.
So, like, Adam is a lot like Cliffy in that regard, that he said something stupid and he admits it was stupid. But he gets way too much shit for what he said, you know, and like he literally got death threats. These guys come up to at the airport saying if we weren't in an airport, I'd kill them. You know?
That's messed up.
Yeah.
Same people who send death threats to people who balance Call of Duty. They nerf a gun a little bit and then they get death threats. It's like, come on, guys, really.
Yeah. As you're using the I win gun, so fuck off. You're not a real Call of Duty player. It's like, remember in Counter-Strike the auto sniper rifle?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
God.
I forget what that was called, but it was so fucking easy. It was just like, I would just go into a server, and I play a lot of PC shooters, and because of the job, I like probably play more than most professional players did back. So I just go in there and I could take out the mag and I'd be fine with that, or I could take out the AK-47, I'd be fine with that. But oh my god, it'd be so fun to troll people with the auto sniper rifle. Just poof, 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 poof. You know? I would camp the fuck out of it. So I would go somewhere and I'd be carrying the bomb and I'd just be like, okay, well, they've got to come to me. So they'd eventually find me and I'd kill them. And they'd send all their friends to kill me so they could finish off the match, because all of my teammates are dead and all of my teammates are screaming at me as well. I was just going,
plant the bomb! What's wrong with you?
But we always won because they always fell for it. They always came to fucking get me. You know? So, you know.
I do one quick question. You don't have to explain it at all. I'm just curious. Are you going to Gamescom at all? Or are you
No.
Not going to Gamescom? Okay.
So I began my career in the industry about 14 years ago in Vienna, Austria, and Slovenia and places like that. It was like all one sort of thing. And when I go over there, it's like meeting. It's like a family reunion, but like I have to work, and everyone is like going, "Oh, let's go for a beer," and whatever. But it's just so hard. It's just like because you're always insulting some friends. When are you guys all from where you live right now?
I am.
I am.
I am. Yeah.
I am.
So, yeah.
You haven't. Fuck me.
I've
So-
moved around too much.
It's a bit like when you go home, and you have to see family, and if you don't see a family member, they get really fucking pissed off.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you mean.
So that's what going back to Gamescom is like. But I will be at PAX. I'm doing a one-on-one interview with Rod Ferguson.
Thanks, Brian. Right?
Rod Ferguson. That's the Gears of War guy, right?
Gears of War.
Yep.
Viking. Yep.
Yes, he is awesome. He is the most talented executive producer and game director in the history of the industry.
So that bodes well for Black Tusk's new game, hopefully.
Oh yeah. Let me put it this way, okay? So his Metacritic average, okay? So your average executive producer, everyone produces dog shit at some point, okay?
Yeah.
Everyone, I don't care who it is. Like Cliffy had Judgment, okay? There's just no way around it.
No way around it. You are absolutely right.
So you've got everyone produces dog shit at some point. It's no one's fault. Everyone tries their best. No one ever gets up in the morning and goes, "Oh my God, I'm going to make an awful fucking game today." It just doesn't happen that way. So Rod's Metacritic average is, I believe, 94.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Wow. And that's for all of his games. Like his last 4 games, it would be, I think, a 95. Might be a point out there, but anywhere over 90 is God status.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Like someone was asking me if Rod will make a mobile game, and I was like, that would be the worst waste of money ever. And they were like,
Yeah.
well, why? And I was like, well, honestly, Rod, you need to give Rod like $20 million or $40 million. I said, if you give him like $1 million for a mobile game, which is a big budget for a mobile game, by the way.
Oh yeah, huge.
You wouldn't have a great game. Rod needs a big blue sky game where you can go in there. So, and the Black Tusk guys are pretty fucking good. And they brought the band back together by getting Steptoe, Stephen Toulouse, who's now the community outreach guy, who's also a friend and who is also very, very awesome.
Okay.
Because he was the Xbox Live banhammer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I met him. I used to work at Xbox Live for a couple of years. I met Steven. He's a good guy.
He's a really good guy, and he would be, like, guys would come up to him and say, "Hey, you banned me," and he'd be like, "Well, what did you say?" And he said, "Well, I called this guy a fag." Well, you do realize that's wrong. You can't say those words, And yeah. Although my favorite is Don Matrick, getting on and playing. I think it was Gears of War, and apparently I wasn't there. I heard about this, but apparently a load of guys were like, he wasn't very good in the game, so they started calling him a homo.
You gotta be kidding me.
And he was like, and Don's very straight-laced. Don was like, "All right, guys, just calm down and be nice, okay, guys?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, it would be nice to play some." And they all apparently they all got banned for life.
I was just about to say that's got to be a perma ban.
I know Don pretty well, and his ego wouldn't stand for that.
Oh wow.
Which is that's it. everything that got fucked up on the Xbox last year, you can like draw a straight line back to Don.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The TV stuff, the non-gaming stuff, they should absolutely still do non-gaming stuff, but they shouldn't just highlight. They shouldn't just parade it out there like it matters to the majority of the users, because it doesn't. What they should do is they should say, you know what, you like this stuff, we're going to give you this stuff, but it's going to be an add-on. Our main focus is games, but we're going to give you a Halo movie because you love Halo and the Halo series. Because
I love
you
Halo.
love Halo. We're going to give you like these Gears apps. We're going to give you NFL apps and college ball apps and fantasy football. People like all this stuff, but it's like for me, Carl Lewis was the greatest sprinter of all time. Okay, I know people have broken his record, but they're using different technology now. And by technology, let's be honest, they're using different drugs. So
exactly.
So you had Carl Lewis. Okay, my two favorite athletes ever, Carl Lewis and Muhammad Ali. Okay, both lived in times where they just basically rose up and fought oppression. Okay, like Ali more so obviously than Carl Lewis, but Carl Lewis was second when he was cheated out of gold by Ben Johnson.
Right.
Okay, so he was beaten by I think 2/100ths of a second.
Yep.
And that's what Microsoft had to do to beat Sony. Okay, now what the TV stuff and all of the Kinect stuff and all the little like NFL apps and the fancy football things, that's the 2%. Okay, if I was to say anything to Andy House from Sony is, A, get your third party in order because you've got the worst third party operation in the history of the industry. Okay,
My goodness.
And that's including Nintendo, because Nintendo will at least pretend that they're interested. That's the first thing. Second thing is get your online shit in order, because like I don't trust anything when it says online and Sony. And I know the PS Now stuff I actually trust because that was developed by guys outside of Sony, but it depends on how long Sony gets to fuck around with it before it fucks up,
Yep.
Like, all we have to do is go back to the credit card hacking thing where PSN was down for, 2 months?
Yeah, a month and a half, 2 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hello, it's like we're beyond that now. So what I would say is that they need to get their shit together. They need to start becoming more focused on the add-on material, because they don't they're not lighting up the world with content right now on the first party side. Like they've released The Last of Us Remastered, which I played this weekend. It's awesome, but it's played now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now we're back to the closet.
Yeah. So if I've got a choice of and by the way, just a disclaimer, I haven't been to a GameStop since November.
Good for you. That's
Everything
good.
Slow clap.
No. It's just because I'm sick of fucking going in there, and they say now they're saying, would you like a credit card? It's like, would you like to get these points that are giving you
Some measly amount of points they're giving you for this stupid high interest credit card.
Yeah, but also on top of that, it basically, you know what it is? It's $20 they're giving you for an interest rate of 26.99%.
So ridiculous.
What a steal
For gaming.
But at the same time, the interest rate is still no lower than most of the major, you go to Sears and get a Sears card, you go to Kmart and get a Kmart card, you go to Walmart and get a Walmart card, and it's all about the same, but it's all still crap. It's just.
I've got a credit card from my bank, and that's it. I've got one credit card. That's all I want.
Yeah.
And the only reason is because all of these store credit cards, there's always some sort of fucking backdoor, we're going to fuck you. Okay? It's
or
like,
else they wouldn't be selling them.
well, yeah, exactly. You know, it's like they should basically be honest and say, here's your credit card and here's your box of dicks that you have to eat. Just say it up front.
Now, you can't be upfront with customers because it scares them. They're like frightened little deer. You can't tell them the truth. They'll run away and never come back again, and we can't have that.
And remember, you know the way when you're going to buy your $60 game on the GameStop credit card, and oh yeah, by the way, that game is going to cost you $200 because you're going to forget about paying the bill, because you never use it except when you're in GameStop. And you're going to get fucking destroyed.
Yep.
So, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. PAX Prime is the next event that I'm going to, as I said. So yeah, are you guys going to be at PAX Prime?
I wish.
They're working.
I would love to go to one of these events, but yeah, the family and everything. So at some point, I'd like to get out to PAX. The one I'd really like to get to is obviously E3, but that's closed to the public, so that one's going to be a little tougher.
Have you guys thought about, like, I know the family is the thing, but, you know, together, like, a bit like, you know, the movie The Goonies?
Yeah, I was going to say the movie The Hangover, but hey, you know.
No, The Goonies. I make so The Goonies is what it is for me. Actually, I've got a funny story after this. Okay, and so we were. Let me tell you the funny story about Goonies first, because this is one of my all-time favorite stories. So Stone Chin, who did PR for Assassin's Creed, he posted a picture of himself a few years ago, and I texted him and I was like, dude, you're totally like, and as you can imagine, Stone Chin's an Asian guy. I was like, dude, you're totally like the kid from The Goonies. And he was like going, that's the first time I've ever heard you say anything remotely fucking racist. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, just because like all Asians don't look alike. I was like, dude, I was talking about the fucking fat kid. Because he's lost so much weight now. He's lost so much weight. He was packing another 70 pounds on like about 3 years ago, 4 years ago. And I was like, wow, you look like, you know, what's his name? I forget the kid's name. You know, the fat kid? Chunk, yeah. Yep. You look like Chunk. I was like, what are you talking about? Racist? You know, you're...
That is awesome.
I've had some piece of shit friends in my life. I think my favorite one, just because he was so incredible and outlandish, how stupid he was.
Gotta love it.
And he was just, I'm not friends with him anymore because he was just a piece of shit. Okay. So, and I was friends with his wife as well. And she was like going, well, what do you think of this? And she told me about it. So his wife comes home one day and he's upstairs banging this other chick. Okay. And she walks into the room and she's like going, oh my fucking God. And she runs out of the room and she runs downstairs to the kitchen, slams the door. And she's like, oh my God, what do I do? So he comes down like 5 to 10 minutes later, okay? Whether he had the balls to finish, whether he finished or not, I think in fairness to him, I think the other lady might have said, who the fuck is that? Or, you know, maybe I should leave, you know? So, so he's like saying, hey, how are you? And she goes, what the fuck do you mean, how am I? You were just like banging that girl. He goes, what girl? And she goes, the girl that you were having sex with in our bed, that I saw. And he goes, I wasn't banging that girl upstairs. You didn't see that? And he said, what? Who do you believe? me or your lying fucking eyes. And he was fucking serious about this. I spoke to him afterwards. I was like, did you actually say, who do you believe, me or your lying eyes?
That's, yeah.
He's like, I just hopped on it and I went with it.
You caught me banging on the sofa. It wasn't me. I'm reminded of that stupid rap song. Damn it.
He was anyway, you're in Seattle, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Redmond, actually, and I currently live in Auburn, near there.
Okay, so you'll be going to PAX.
I'm not, and because I'm working, but I would be wanting to go for a long time.
What do you work at?
I work at Microsoft, actually.
You work at Microsoft?
Yeah, I'm a contractor.
Okay, cool. Well, hopefully your job's safe.
Yeah, I fall into that 18 months thing. I work at Windows Phone right now. But,
okay. I know. Do you know Sean Anam?
no, doesn't ring a bell. My claim to fame is I worked at Xbox Live for a couple of years. That was a couple of years ago, and then I bounced around and now Windows Phone. But I met Step 2.
What do you do on Windows Phone?
In ops and operations, engineering.
Okay. Okay, so Sean is in charge of merchandising, so he decides what gets featured and what doesn't get featured.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have worked with him.
Yeah. You see his product, but every time you open the marketplace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He's awesome. But he's vegan, and I never trust vegans. Any motherfucker that doesn't eat meat at all, like, people that are vegetarian, I can sort of understand to a certain extent, but people that don't eat, like, cheese.
You can't even eat Jell-O.
Or you can't eat Jell-O? Why can't you eat Jell-O?
Gelatin. It's made from hooves and stuff.
Yeah, gelatin is made from, yep.
Yeah, but why do you have to tell them all of that sort of shit? Dude, you're like the narc. You know, you can't eat gelatin. Why? Oh, well, that gelatin is gelatin from, like, the pig.
If I told you my dietary stuff we got here at home, you'd probably laugh at me too. Paleo and no dairy and blah blah. I do meat though. I eat meat.
Okay, cool. In the Commons. Are you on campus in Redmond?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. So, on campus, they've got a place called, I'm telling the other guys, a place called the Commons.
Yep, very familiar with that.
And it's just awesome. Like, if I was working at Microsoft, I would steal food.
Yeah, it's like the mall. It's like a mall, but like really good food.
Yeah, like really, really, really good food. So, yeah, Microsoft. You should try to get a job at Microsoft.
There's a possibility there. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, because they are one of the best employers ever. You know, like I had a friend, Jeff Rubenstein actually, who's now working with Larry Major Nelson, and he loves it there. He's like it is incomparable to his life at Sony, where he was basically dragging them to water, whereas and they still weren't drinking. And he's a really talented guy.
All right, Kevin. Well, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Kevin.
For joining us.
Thank you a lot.
Okay.
We appreciate it.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.
But